like I was saying, I already answered, talked a little about the cube situation.
Mm.
Just to reiterate on camera, in May, I wasn't sure because the price to me was so high. I wasn't sure I really wanted to go for it. I didn't know if I, needed it, quote.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend is very encouraging. I'm not blaming her for this,
Hmm.
but it's my thought. She was getting ready for work, and I said, I don't know. They got this John Lennon item up there. It's so much money, blah blah. And she says, well, let me know what you want to do about it, and because we order it together. What happens is she puts it on her card, and I give her the cash. She does the
Yeah.
card, so that's what I did. But the thing is, she before I have a chance to think, like 10 minutes later, she comes out when she's finished and she says, "Look, just the laptop," and she says, let's just do it. Let's do it." That's how she kind of. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm not sure. So we do it, and then other people that received the cube, yourself and some other couple of others, I think. I was watching videos, and I'm like, I don't know. Now I got an interruption,
Uh,
and
it-
I'm like, I don't know if I really want everything in here to be. If I'm to be
Yeah.
not for this price.
in my opinion, and I am a John Lennon fan, he's my favorite Beatle, but there seemed to be a lot of filler in there, unrelated to mind games.
I don't know.
It's the way that I think of this, and I said this on Twitter, and Sean read it, and I think he agreed with me. It's like the Matrix. Is this? It's that bit in the Matrix where they say, if you want to take the blue pill, if you want to end it here, the blue pill is like the music, the smaller box set. If you just want the music, and you want to read about the music, get the 6 CD box,
which is what I ordered.
Fantastic.
That's what I.
But
have.
if you want to stay in Wonderland and see how deep the rabbit hole goes, take the red pill. The cube is the red pill.
It's red, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's if you want to go deep into the art, the concepts of things, and of what John and Yoko did during those years in terms of the danger box and the you are here, and all the things that they were into with astrology. If you want to go deep into that, this might be the best opportunity you ever get. But so when people say, "Oh, it's a ridiculous price for that album," the price isn't for that album. You can stream the album for free. You can buy a 2 CD set for, I don't know, $15, $20, £15, whatever. This isn't so much about the music. You get all of it, of course, but it's so much more than that. And it's only going to appeal to a certain section of people, and they know that. They know that. They don't intend
I
it to appeal to
understand that.
everybody.
But I just jumped the gun on it, as simple as that. If I'm to be honest, I did a video about that, and I think you agree. You know how it is. People say, "Oh, there's people going out there. Oh, so and so got a complimentary review copy. They're not going to be fair." That's not true in my case. I criticize things if I have to, and I think you do the same. You tell the good and the warts, maybe if there are a few apply. So
I mean, I said that the vinyl remix certainly wasn't how I would want to hear it. I think it was lacking a bit of top end, but I'd like to talk about things that I enjoy and I'm happy with. So I do tend to be fairly positive anyway. But do you think you'll keep it then, Joe? Do you think you might sell it?
Well, that's the thing, because I was saying I didn't like the fact that you couldn't cancel your order. I mean, this was a hot item. It was. I'll get to that in a minute. The question. It was a hot item. All of them were sold out. Although some people are wondering why they're back, if they were limited. I heard that they took some from England.
They did.
And put them to the U.S.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, but it wasn't open. It's like they got you there, because they sent me the email that said, "Sorry, you checked something that said you accept that this is final, all sales final." And I'm like, okay, so nothing I could do now. Then I thought, well, would I rather have it and keep it, which I probably will do, or sell it? It's going to be tough to sell because you're also paying shipping, or paying a lot of shipping is what makes it even more. So even if I sold it to someone without shipping it to them, maybe local or something, I'm not going to charge them the shipping fee.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm thinking of keeping it anyway. Because
I have a question for you, Andrew, about the box set.
Yes.
I know Joe had commented on this. The LPs that are included are laying flat.
yeah,
Did you leave your items in the box, or did you take them out? And
They're in the box, but from my opinion here, if that was the cube, and the albums are laying that way, just turn your cube around. That's
Yeah, I
all
thought
you have to do.
well,
Okay.
yeah, that's common sense. I thought the same, but then I thought, but I want John's head up there to stay
Yeah,
straight. I don't want him on the side.
I'd rather keep the vinyl records flat
Well, you know
themselves.
what
So.
I did? There's nothing in. If you missed it, I was saying earlier, there's nothing in that cube up there. It's empty. I emptied it, because it's obviously very heavy.
Oh yes, I can see
So,
it up there.
I mean, this thing is already way down, and
Yeah, I was
bookcase.
going to say you haven't lifted that up there.
No. It's empty, and everything is elsewhere, including the vinyl standing up. So for now, that's what I decided to do.
Yeah.
But eventually,
did you put it with your Harrison Uber box?
yeah, that's in the living room. It makes a good piece of furniture.
I was going to ask about that. I couldn't remember whether you'd bought that one or not.
Yeah, I did. Didn't get everything. I never got the Egypt Station suitcase. I
didn't either. I know. I still don't know whether Mazzy got this cube or not. I've not seen any mention.
Oh,
I
yes,
assumed
did.
that he would,
did.
but I haven't seen a video.
Wait a minute, maybe not. Now that you think of it, no.
Yeah, I haven't seen a video from him either.
No.
I was wondering the same thing. But
right.
I know he was very cagey when it was announced about whether or not he'd ordered it, and I just assumed at the point, well, either he has and he wants to keep it a surprise, or maybe he knows he's getting a free one.
Yeah, and then people just guess. They say, "Oh, Joe's annoyed that so he's going to cancel it because he might get a free one." I never expected to get a free one. I didn't know anybody would. But I'm surprised. But no, for me, it's just right now it's too much money, and I jumped the gun. And the Beatle Fest for Beatles fans in Chicago is next month, and I could use that for the plane fare and the hotel room and everything else. So it just was bad timing, also. But I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to enjoy it the best I can.
I think Station Minute's got a good point there. In the end, the cube is the only way you'll get it all on vinyl. Because I know some people have said they'll maybe do it separate. I don't think they will do it separate. I think this is it now. This is it.
From a marketing perspective, I mean, it makes sense for them to do that from a marketing perspective, because then people will want it for all the vinyl. But I don't think they just spend that kind of money just for the vinyl. Yeah. Andrew, do you have a favorite piece in the cube?
Do you know, since I discovered that you can use a strobe app on your phone to view the zoetrope patterns, I really like those now. Because I was under the impression that you had to video it and watch it back on video to see the pattern, but no, you can see it live in real time if you can use strobes, if you haven't got a problem with strobes. So I really like those. They look good.
Well, I've seen videos taken of it moving, and it's nice that way. But I didn't know. I mean, I thought the way I always think is, this is my thinking. Okay, that's great now. Another 15, 20 years, am I going to have? They're going to be things such as apps and how to access this and whatever.
Yeah, it's. I don't know whether this will come through, but it's an app called Strobily, Strobily, and you can. I don't know how good that looks, but you can set it at sort of certain hertz, and so it just fires the light at the record at the right speed, so that you see all the patterns going around on the turntable. It does look really cool. I need to try it with the George Harrison Wonderwall music that I got for Record Store Day.
Yeah. Well, I have that as well. And I gotta have a lot of these things, and I don't even know what to do with them. Those are things that but I'm learning as I watch other videos and so on. I still haven't been able to find all the tracks. I don't think. Have you ever found out why people are asking me, what's with the 90 tracks when they put on the CD? There's 90 tracks.
There's some people who are insisting it's a defect. It isn't a defect at all. It's so if you I'll tell you what. let's just get the card out, the Utopia card.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something.
I liked, Andrew. I liked your video where you were showing with the ultraviolet light and everything. It's got me checking everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, inside the book, everything.
Where is it? I can't find the Utopia card. But anyway, there's all those clues to the different games. And one of them says something like CD1/90. And then there's 3 boxes for you to fill in the answer. So if you go to track 90 on CD1, if you've got a CD player that's got a visual display, it says yes on track 90.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And that's the answer to that clue. So people say, no, I've got a defective CD. They haven't. It's not a defect at all. It's one of the games.
Right. Well, with that grid, with the little squares, if you shine light on that, certain boxes are white.
I've not noticed that.
Well, like I said, I've been shining it on everything.
There needs to be a website set up where people can share all the. I think it's only going to be a group effort that the whole thing is going to get cracked. No individual person is going to crack it.
Some people, here I am again, the sourpuss. That it's this is fun, isn't this great? Look, I might have had fun 40 years ago. Now just give me them on a disc, a bonus disc, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I have good feelings about the mixes for the most part. The new mix for the most part. There's things to them. I've been on record as saying, and that I don't like saxophones being removed. I don't like that. But I said the same thing with "Give Me Some Truth" with the saxophone on Steel and Glass, and that didn't. Yeah. And when I spoke to Sean, we had text messaging going back and forth, and he understood. And he told me, well, I appreciate that you're honest about it, and it's his thing,
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
I think
you can be negative or critical.
Getting rid of a little sort of sax flourish at the end of a song might be whether doing that I think would be different to doing something like getting rid of the sax on Steel and Glass if they do a Walls and Bridges Ultimate Collection. I'd be surprised if they go to that level of change on there. Give Me Some Truth was different. I think they had a bit more license to play about there.
That's how I rationalized it in my mind. I said to myself, well, this is a compilation, so you have an alternate kind of mix. Okay, please don't do it on the regular album. And then here with One Day at a Time, this is the regular album, the official album. But it wasn't just the flourish, there's a little flourish at the end with the sax, but it also during the last bit of business, whatever they're doing, the oohs and the ahs or whatever the women are doing, it goes all through that too. That's supposed to be there through the whole thing. But I like so much other stuff as well that I appreciated about it. So I mean, John's voice especially, that's the main thing. I can understand so much more of what he's saying without having to look up the lyrics.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying this box set.
Yeah, overall, I enjoy it for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely helped me to ramp the album up quite a bit in my appreciation of it.
Hello, James.
Hello, James.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed Mind Games.
Yeah.
From the minute I heard it, I loved that. I played that to death in college.
Oh, did you have?
I'm that old.
You're getting up there. Did you have the 2002 CD, Robert?
Oh yeah, I have it.
Yeah, I played that again.
Not back in college. Back in the 70s.
No, was well. Yeah. So I mean, how about you, Andrew, with the 2002 mix?
Yeah, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago when I first bought that, and immediately it just lifted the album because I had the old CD from maybe about 1990, and that was the only version of Mind Games that I had. I had the 2010 remaster as well. But yeah, I got it about 5 or 6 years ago, and immediately I thought, this is a much better album than I've ever given it credit for. And the song I Know, especially, just hit me first time I listened to that 2002 remix, and I'd always sort of bypassed that song in my brain. I'd never taken much notice of it. and I loved it the first time I heard it on that remix. But I think comparing that to the new one, which I have done, I've sort of done like switched straight from 2002 to the new. I think there's some great clarity in the 2002, but does sound a bit thin. It's a bit trebly.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens. I thought the same thing when I played it recently again. I thought how much I loved it back then, but now that's over 20 years old. It's amazing, and it's just different. And there's things I like better about the 73 even, and there's things I like better about the 2024 now that I think are improved, and that's just how it is. There's different versions to choose if you want.
Yeah. Right. Was that genuine you, Joe, or fake Joe, who asked the question about do I think Matt Walls and Bridges will be next?
Oh no, that was fake.
Yes,
fake
I think
Joe.
It was fake Joe trying to make me think it's real Joe.
Well, all his questions were, good,
yeah.
good, sincere questions. It sounded like.
Yeah, that was a good question, I thought. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see whether they do go Walls and Bridges next, or will they pull forward Double Fantasy to give the best chance for Yoko to be around for that era, getting its re-release.
I've often thought of that as well. I thought, maybe Yoko can put any input or somehow involved in it. Maybe that would make kind of sense in that way. But I think, you deal with these people. You've been doing this long enough. The trolls. Some people will say, why are they skipping over Walls and Bridges? Is it because Yoko wasn't on it? They just want to do Yoko albums.
Oh God, yeah, no, I've thought of that. Conspiracy theorists come up
theory, which of course, we're getting all that with mind games. Oh, Yoko wasn't there as much as it sounds when you see the cube and everything, and it just gets tiring, doesn't it? After a while, but that's part of it.
Well, for all we know, that they may have already gotten Yoko's input on these Walls and I mean the Double Fantasy.
Yeah, they've probably done all that kind of work. Like we know that with the archive collection,
right?
Lawrence Juba said years ago that he contributed to the Back to the Egg years ago, but just nothing's come of it yet. Yeah, so they'll do all the groundwork, and they're not going to risk people not being around anymore. Hopefully, Denny Lane has done his parts for that and London Town as well. I would hope.
It does sound like, from what we've been hearing, that the stuff was ready to go pretty much for Back to the Egg, and London Town also. So,
yeah.
I don't think. I mean, yes and no, because the story is that a lot of it was supposedly destroyed. I don't know if that's true or not.
Wasn't there some footage that John didn't like in the studio? He didn't like his ponytail, his long hair or something.
Supposedly he didn't like his, something about the way he looked too much. And he even makes on one of the audio tracks, he makes a comment about the camera, and he says, I know what I look like an effing bird.
Well, he also didn't like his voice.
Oh, yeah, well.
And they're bringing that out. So.
He never did he?
So maybe, not liking his appearance, it's not going to matter to what we ultimately get.
It's like Miss World thinking she's ugly. It's the equivalent of that.
Exactly.
I know what you're saying, Home, but be positive, be cheery. Yes, I understand. But the thing is, I can't afford to buy it either, really. I've always been the type of person that I just get it. I get the stuff. And I've said to people millions of times, look, I buy everything. If I wasn't getting the freebie thing, if I wasn't getting a complimentary copy of something, I'd buy it anyway. I bought some of the other ones. I bought all the Archive McCartney myself. Obviously, I bought the Harrison crate myself. Obviously, I'd buy it anyway.
Did you regret the Harrison crate as well?
Well, no. At least, no, not really so much that. Plus, arguably, as much as I do enjoy mind games, which I do, All Things Must Pass is, George's masterpiece.
Yeah.
Well, some people consider it maybe the greatest solo Beatle album of all. It kind of really. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole either. What deserves it or not? People are saying, well, Imagine on Plastic Ono Band should have had this instead. Well, Sean only did this because he was impressed with the All Things Must Pass release. That's why he wanted something big for the next release coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
I think we've got an answer from Mazzy to the question we were pondering a few minutes ago.
I'm waiting for UPS to deliver the cube. Rented a forklift to get it. Oh, wait.
We wondered if you were getting it.
Tom Hanyadi said Lawrence Juber has backtracked on the back of to the egg box. Backtracked. I don't know if you mean. I'm a little mixed up with that one. He's changed his view on that.
I mean, if he's changing what he's said, sounds well. Okay.
I'm a little mixed up. Like maybe or you mean he did back in cracks? I don't think that's what that means.
I did an interview with Lawrence last year, and he was very clear about the fact that he'd talked about that stuff to the relevant people.
Because when I spoke to at the Beatle Fest, it's easy to speak to them there. So I got a chance to speak to, oh man, Steve Holly, and he was like, he doesn't know anything about it. That's what he said. But this was going back now a couple, 2 or 3 years. Might have been 2019, actually. Wow, longer than I thought. Yes, indeed, Lila. Yes, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always said, my dignity is more important to me, than a freebie. But the respect, I'm more concerned with the retaining the respect of the Lennons, not the freebie, the money stuff. That's all. Wouldn't it be cool if Sean released an EP of only those tracks Joe and others didn't like as an afterthought? Released an EP of only those tracks Joe and others didn't like as an afterthought. Maybe I'm missing which ones you mean. There's Norman coming up, Mazzy. So let's bring him up here. This is good. Wait a minute. Are you ready? Here we go. He's ready.
I got this is I'm in the as you say in the UK, I'm in the garage, and I'm waiting for a UPS to deliver it, and I know it's very heavy, so I have my wheelie thingy to roll it in. So
is it coming today?
It's out for delivery. UPS in
Excellent.
Seattle,
Wow.
West Coast. We're last out in the West
I would
Coast.
have given you one slightly used. Well, not given you, sold you one slightly used.
I bought it way back. People ask me, "Did you buy it?" And I always would answer, "I don't remember."
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Like I said, that's what I kept telling people too. And they were saying, "Oh, well, you're just going to give positive reviews, fake positive reviews." First of all, I didn't say everything positive. Like I critiqued a couple of things, but overall, I was positive about it. And B, well, I'm ordering the cube, so obviously I'm spending how many times the money?
It's a no-win. It's a no-win what we do here in that there's always going to be a percentage that don't understand that. I mean, I've talked about this many times back when I was in the record business. Radio people, record people, retail people would get promo copies. Every reviewer who's ever written for Rolling Stone or Crawdaddy or Mojo or any of those, they get review copies. Sure. They don't like everything. Now, obviously, when you get a large piece, but still, it's a different time now. And YouTubers, we get big viewership, so it makes sense for them to reach out to people like us. And, we respond. I've watched all your takes on it, and I think we're all been pretty honest in what we feel on it. I want to say I absolutely love the mind. I always like mind games, but I never liked the sound of it. And I remember I'm old enough because it came out with my first record store job. It was the first Beatle album, solo Beatle album, to come out right when I worked in a store, and it just always seemed muddy back then. But I liked the song, so.
You just said you didn't like the sound. That's
John's it was awesome. Around that time, Band on the Run came out and it was sounding good. Ringo's album sounded great, but something was off sound-wise, not song-wise.
Do you think there's similar, Mazzy, with a couple of George albums from the same period? Because I've thought when I've listened to Extra Texture and
Extra
Dark
Texture.
Horse. There's a muddiness to those as well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'd really like to see the blanket lifted off those as well.
To this day, I still can't believe I went to see 2 of the Harrison shows. You know, that tour, the Dark HOARSE tour, and I still to this day don't understand why I know there's a lot of money involved in tours. He didn't say like, let's postpone this 6 months a year. And so he's going to record a record and tour with that voice. I remember hearing that when he opened his mouth and thinking, what the blank, you know, it was, and I still loved it because I had never seen a Beatle up to that point. Yeah. And I was 20 years old or just about 19, whatever. And it was amazing. I remember I had a little tape recorder. So I recorded the entire show when he did In My Life. And so I had a little like portable, you know, I bootlegged it for myself. And I listened to it like for a month straight. It was so great. But it's, you know, I kind of hope they don't or put out a recording of it personally.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I just want to get to this that Tom Hunyadi said. He said Lawrence Juber changed what he said about the box coming out last time we had him on. He's saying now he doesn't know. But I was just asking not so much whether it was coming. Maybe he even doesn't know if it's coming out. I was just wondering if they had, you know, worked on it. You know, they did stuff for it, you know, interviews or something.
He's definitely done interviews.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He's confirmed that definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Not that it's, you know, definitely coming out. Okay, now you guys have seen and heard the newer version of Mind Games. Has the album moved in your rankings, or is it still exactly what you thought of it before this new release? Anybody?
Yeah, my thought on it is that I always had Plastic Ono Band, Imagine, Walls and Bridges, Double Fantasy as my first few. And there was quite a bit of a gap to Mind Games. Now, what I would say, I don't think I would put Mind Games above any of those now, but that gap has shrunk massively.
Mm-hmm.
And what I don't know yet is if the gap to Walls and Bridges has become that when it was that, if they do Walls and Bridges next, will Walls and Bridges go back up there? I don't know. We'll have to see. But certainly it's closed the gap massively for me.
I pretty much agree with that. It was always 4th or 5th. Well, it was that and Walls and Bridges were close. Walls and Bridges I always gave the edge, but I always liked the songs on Mind Games, but I like it so much better now. There's nothing I don't like on it this time. And I like all the choices. And I know there's a lot of, I go in the forums a lot, and I know you do too. And there's a lot of upsettingness about the removal of the saxophone. And to me, I think it's improved it. I like it so much.
I don't at all. Doesn't matter, Johnny.
I don't like the saxophone on it.
Well, a lot of people feel that way. What's next? Savoy Truffle we take the saxophone out of? I mean, you know,
a remix is basically that. It's whoever remixes it, whether it's the artist or the estate or the producer. Otherwise, why bother doing a remix opposed to a remaster? You know,
oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, well, all right, well, like remaster, yeah, well, because we can do a remaster.
Remix it, you're going to bring like vocals up or instruments up or bass up or what I don't understand on the forums is there's a segment of people on that same forum about saying how the bass is overwhelming and heavy, and I didn't experience that at all. And I have a nice system.
Some drums were heavier than usual. We all hear things differently, and it depends how much you have these songs etched into your brain. I have them etched into my brain pretty much.
Yeah, our rooms, our taste, our ears are different too. So.
The only thing I experienced on that was that I found on the vinyl for the main remix and for the Evolution documentaries, I ended up I've got twin subwoofers in this room, and I ended up turning them off, which I never do. And it was fine then. It was absolutely fine then. My speakers give off a decent amount of bass anyway. I felt that I felt that the subs were just getting in the way a bit of the top end frequencies.
They're adding too much. Yeah. Do you have floor speakers or bookshelf speakers?
I've got
like.
There you go. I've got them on stands.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say, Mind Games has always been number 4 for me. I like Imagine, Plastic Ono Band, and Walls and Bridges ahead, probably in that order. But I've always liked the songs on there. I just thought, like Massey had said, I think it helps rather than hinders with the new um, presentation. And I think a lot of other people have said that. But one thing I wanted to say before I pop up the next question was that when you were saying before about, like, why do a remix or remaster or whatever, why do a remix if not, if you're not going to change? Well, they changed John's voice for one thing. That was a positive remix. That's a positive reason to do it, but it's all subjective. Some people might not miss, like, you don't miss the saxophones on there. I did, and certainly missed them on Steel and Glass. That actually um, is part of the melody in a way. Not just a flourish. I think. Um,
I think the only 2 Lennon albums that actually needed remixing, Mind Games and New York City. I think New York City is atrocious, and I like the songs, and I wish that was stripped down to a folk album, because I think the songs that John and Yoko sing are I like them a lot. Which is the song? Was it Attica that was on the
Yeah.
Give Me Some Truth?
I missed the question. I was reading the
Was
comment.
Attica on Give Me Some Truth? Is that the one they
No, it was Angela.
Angela, I'm sorry. I knew it was
And
an
Angela sounded amazing on the
Right,
Give Me-
exactly.
Yeah.
I think
there's a lot of fun to be had on that album. I enjoy it a lot, despite how political it is.
I
We're All
enjoy the
Water
album.
is just great fun.
I don't
at
like the
end.
band. I don't like the band.
I like them. I always said this is weird. I like them on the record. I don't like them when I hear the rehearsals or live, but so much. But on the record, I like it. I don't know, grungy is a little different than usual, and I do like the album. Sometime in New York City, I wouldn't put it among his best for me, but I do enjoy it. And it does get a bad rap. There's one thing here that if you are mistaken. They said, "I'm the greatest." To me, seems to be a song John was working on for himself. They don't seem like demos to give to Ringo. No, he was intending giving them to Ringo, and the demos are for Ringo, I believe.
He basically said something like, I like this song, but I really can't sing it myself.
I
He
couldn't
couldn't
sing it.
put that out.
Who knows if he
sound
started it for
strange.
himself, maybe, but then he
Yeah,
decided.
Ringo could get away with it, but I mean, there's versions of him. I've heard a lot of versions of him doing it, and the ones I thought were laying down a guide vocal or something. I thought, but a lot of the ones I hear, maybe not so much the earliest demo, but I know there's a lot of guide vocal tracks I've heard of it. I have heard, and it's not in stone, so don't everybody start getting excited. I've heard it, in the inner circles, mutterings, that there might be an anthology revisit next year for the anniversary in 2025. For that matter, I've also heard that this year, before it's that, we're supposed to get a revisitation of the Beatles' first U.S. visit.
I think that's on the cards for later this year, by the sounds of it, rather than Rubber Soul.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Too many anniversaries now for everything.
Yeah.
The biggest omission last year was not putting out a special Ringo, arguably his best album.
Yeah.
I don't know what they could have done with it, but you'd think they do something with it. I mean, they're issuing, Record Store Day, a Bad Boy and those things. Give me a break.
He's not interested, is he?
I know he's fond of that album for obvious reasons, but he talks positively about the album. And somebody interviewed him and mentioned, hey, it's 50 years. This isn't last year, and he says, really, has it been 50 years already, or something like that? If he was being jocular or what, but the thing is, he didn't say anything about it. I think he'd be pushing for that, And I don't believe in I'm not one of those people that has to always make a Beatles connection. But for marketing purposes, you could make the Beatles reunion sort of closest they came to a reunion Ringo album to try to sell it.
Yeah. I could imagine Ringo not knowing it was the 50th anniversary, but if the people who are advising him and working with him are not all over that and telling him about it, then
Universal would have been Capital Universal would have been all. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Trying to see.
I mean, it was he had the most top 10, the first time, most top 10 hits of any Beatle up to that period.
Mm.
And Vinyl Richie still doesn't like Mind Games.
You haven't listened to it, Richie. I bet you haven't even listened to it. You haven't listened to the new version.
I love when they speak in facts, but I guess, that's another thing. I'm not one of those people. Just because somebody says something, it's their opinion. But sometimes we like a cushion, right? To say, in my opinion, it's not very good. But we know it's your opinion.
All over the Hoffman forums, when you say something, someone will pop in and say, "Hey, but that's only your opinion." Well, of course, I don't speak for mankind and womankind.
Right, and I know, and that's the thing, and I catch myself doing it, and it's always an easy retort to always say, "Oh yeah, in your opinion."
We just speak for the Lennon estate, don't we? Lennon Ono estate, right? The three of us are.
Yeah, we're paid a retainer by them. Yeah,
We're not paid. I haven't got a dime from anybody. I get records occasionally, and that's it. So
no. Let's see. It's going around with different kind of things. Favorite McCartney archive release. I like Ram a lot.
The Wildlife Red Rose Speedway, those two. I've been promoting it since day one. I'm a huge fan of Wildlife. I think it's one of the few McCartney records that doesn't seem dated 50 years down the line because of production wise, it's very minimal. I know a lot of people like to slag off Bip Bop and stuff, but I mean, that's a great bluesy. So I love that. I'd like to see, I know this is probably not popular, but I'd like to see an archive box of the Firemen stuff.
Absolutely.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Let's get this other stuff. Let's get all the Wings albums.
Okay, let's finish the 70s first. Okay.
At least do the Wings albums, if nothing else. I hope everything gets revisited.
Yeah.
But at least that. At least the 70s.
That 71 to 73 box is amazing and the best thing that's been put out in it. But if I had to break it down to one album, I would say Red Rose Speedway would be the best.
Oh, then they had that
mainly because of the video content that you get with it as well. It's just fantastic.
And the extra album.
Rob Skier says Wildlife stinks. I don't think it stinks.
He hates that. Yeah, he hates it. He's a good guy. He's just being funny.
It's not overproduced. And as much as I love Paul, he tends to sometimes, like I have obviously like you guys, every McCartney album, but to me, there's always like 5 perfect songs on a McCartney album, 5 okay songs, and maybe 2 or 3 crap. And I know Beatle people don't like to hear this. He's not good at editing himself. The thing about Wildlife, there's not too much stuff thrown in. He follows trends in his later years, or like who's the latest producer that's hot. I wish he would.
I forgot his name already, but the guy who did the
Padnam and
but I'm thinking now on the so-called new album. Is it Andrew Watt, the guy who did
Andrew Watt? He made the new Pearl Jam album sound like crap.
Well, I love Hackney Diamonds. Oh, is this it? Is this the cue?
Yes. This could be.
Wait a minute.
This could be a real coup. Oh.
Live on the air. No, that's a school bus dropping off summer school kids.
Yeah. So I mean, and I said this about the Rolling Stones' Hackney Diamonds. I can't remember, for me, the last album I ever heard, especially by not an ex-Beatle or somebody other than a Beatle, where I'm listening to the album and every song I'm like, yeah, every damn song, and I'm like, that never happened to me since Fleetwood Mac Rumors. I think, other than the Beatles, even solo Beatle albums, even Paul. When I listen to them, I'm not. It takes time for the Paul songs and new albums to grow on me. The Stones album, I liked the whole thing, straight through. And the production as well. But so I hope Paul uses them. But as far as Wildlife goes, I like Wildlife. I like it as I call it an offbeat, more prime, different kind of thing that Paul does. Some people say it's not smooth enough, or it's not this. If you want that, you got 998 other things that Paul did that is smooth. What's wrong with? Same thing with McCartney too. I mean, you want something different. You got plenty of smooth, calculated kind of stuff instead of something being unusual. So the Apple Years box set of Ringo's LPs. They're all great LPs in my opinion, except for Sentimental Journey.
Sentimental Journey is fun. It's
great. And I just listened again the other day to Buku's a Blues, which
Yeah.
that is exciting me that he's doing a country album with
Yeah.
T-Bone.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
his last EPs are very hit and miss, and he has country music in his DNA. So doing a country album with T-Bone, yeah, I have a UK version of that record. I love that record.
Yeah, $15 Draw. I love that song. It's great. Fantastic
Good album.
musicians they got on it as well.
That's the whole Nashville. Those are the primo Nashville guys that Dylan used, like a Nashville Skyline.
There's great musicians on that, and also on Sentimental Journey. I mean, I like the music on that. I'm not knocking. I'm not trying to knock at this point. Kisses on the Bottom. I enjoy Kisses on the Bottom, Paul's album, but maybe he waited a little too long, in my opinion. But the thing is, Ringo's. I think I'd rather listen to Sentimental Journey over the Paul album if I'm going to hear that kind of stuff.
I'm going to give you some credit here, Joe, because you gave me a monumental kick up the backside a couple of 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know if you remember. Because I was unfair to Ringo, and I sort of I thought about what you said when you had a bit of a go at me, and you were right to. And
Oops.
I think you were right. You were right to, and I told you that you were right to. Yeah, and I sort of thought, you know what, I'm going to be a bit fairer to Ringo. I'm going to go and, in effect, study Ringo a lot more than I ever have done. And that led me to going and listening to every one of his albums and doing like a ranking.
You did that.
Every Ringo album.
Watching that.
And I probably wouldn't have done that if I hadn't got a kick up the backside from you.
I'm glad you got the kick because, of course, you're not talking about John, Paul, or George here. You're talking about Ringo, right? We know. But there are, even if you don't love every album, there are tracks here and there's some gold to be found or nice stuff on the albums, even if they're not always consistent or they get to sound very, I think the term is samey. Like after a while they get the same, like later years it's kind of similar.
That brought back a memory. In San Francisco, Tom Donahue was like an AM radio guy that is considered the father of underground radio. Started KMPX and KSAN, and he would do on KSAN these weekend shows. And if you listen online, you can find the interview he did, Walls and Bridges with John Lennon, at KSAN Radio, 70, I guess it's 75, right? 74, 75, whenever that was. But I remember, I guess it was 73, my buddies and I were going to the movies and we were listening to a Saturday night show, which went from like 8 to mid-2 in the morning. And they had said, we have someone on the ground at I think it was the record plant, whatever the studio in LA or wherever it was. And there's these rumors of things of a Beatle reunion happening and they're in the studio and there was live, and this is obviously before internet and everything. And he had someone calling in from a phone booth or wherever they were, a hotel room. Yeah, well, apparently, John wrote a song and George is there at the studio and there's people and supposedly Paul's going to be there. And of course, this turned out to be the Ringo album. But it was really interesting. I mean, as a 19-year-old, and, this is 3 years after the Beatles split up, when you kept thinking, will they do something again? Will they get back? Looking back on it, I'm glad they never did.
Me too.
I think leave the audience wanting more is the greatest entertainment story, the way it is, instead of, like I always ask people, name me 3 songs aside from this new album of the Rolling Stones of any album of the last 30 years. Most people can't do it. I mean, you might mention Steel Wheels, the title of the album.
Yeah, Mixed Emotions, Almost Hear You Sigh.
Well, that was even more than 30 years ago.
30 years.
But I'm just saying.
94.
Right? I mean, we know Start Me Up, but wasn't that the 80s?
80,
or whatever
80s,
it was.
Yeah, and I think I always think eventually it'd be inevitable. The Beatles would have to stumble eventually, as far as the album goes. Eventually, getting together, maybe. I always said Live Aid. If John was here, and they did one killer set, and that's it. All right, that kind of thing. But albums, I'd be afraid that eventually the albums.
Yeah,
you might get a stinker there, which is hard to,
especially a few years. I think, especially like in the late, like I'm in the last week or two, I've been in a 10cc phase, and I've been watching videos and playing the records and the solo stuff and everything from the Mindbenders to Godley and Cream and everything. And I realized, half the band split and went off to do their thing, and they continued for a while. And then after a while, when punk hit, all of a sudden their music was pretty unfashionable. Now, I wasn't in the UK. They had bigger hits in the UK, and then later they had bigger hits in America than the UK. But when punk hit, especially in the UK, it was more of a bigger thing there than here. Here it was regional. It wasn't on the radios, like it was in the UK, like the Sex Pistols or whoever. But I think the Beatles, I don't know, what would they have done when the punk thing happened? Look what they did. They did disco. Paul did disco.
It's strange because you're absolutely right in what you say, but then you've got right in the middle of that time period, Paul puts out Mull of Kintyre, and still to this day, that is the biggest selling non-charity single in UK chart history.
Traditional
It outsold every Beatles single.
Yeah.
And it's but yeah, the UK was a crazy place in the 1970s.
UK is great for traditional and Christmas songs and the comps.
Yeah. I remember, I always tell a story when I was walking around for a little while. I hung out with some guys at night, late at night, and I had a boombox we used to carry around. They said the new McCartney song, and it was Girl School, which I love that song. But they didn't play. Mull of Kintyre wasn't promoted here.
People didn't get it here. I mean, I love that song.
Although I got another mystery guest down in the bottom, but I'm saving them till later.
What was the name of the Golly Cream? Was it just Golly Cream, or did they name a band for that title for that song "Cry" that they did in the mid '80s?
That was Godly and Cream. That was their song. And the thing is, that's when they were big as directors, video directors, with the Police, Duran Duran, and Herbie Hancock. They became video directors, and they did that.
Well, they directed the Ringo stuff for "Stop and Smell the Roses."
Yeah, didn't they do also George Harrison's "Got My Mind Set on You"? I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
They have a good guitarist on Ringo's album "Stop and Smell the Roses," a man by the name of Lawrence Tuber, with a T. It's a misspelling.
I love that. I think that is one of the great Ringo albums.
I think I do. I also think so too. For later
Rack
days,
My Brain.
Rack My Brain. Great
I'm very
single.
close to my Ringo section at the moment.
Yeah, I can see that. It's pulling out Ringo's albums everywhere. I really like that album. I do.
I have an autographed copy of that by Lawrence Juber and Harry Nilsson. And
did he sign a tuber?
Well, inside it, because the Beatle Fest in LA that year, Harry Nilsson, I guess the year when 81, 82, 83, or 82, 83, when we were promoting our book, that's when Harry Nilsson was there because he was doing the gun control stuff after John died. And so I have an autograph of him on this pamphlet, gun control pamphlet. Him and then Lawrence Juber autographed that record.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't probably, Rory. It was a fact.
And not only that, but I always get a kick out of the fact that I'm pretty sure it's a fact that Ringo's the only ex-Beatle to have 2 number ones on an album.
2 number ones. Paul came close with the Pipes of Peace album in the UK, though, because the song Pipes of Peace was number 1 and Say, Say, Say was number 2 in the UK. So Paul came close, but Ringo's the only one.
And Speed of Sound also close, no?
Speed of Sound, with Silly Love Songs number 1, and then Let 'Em In was number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, when you think about it.
Good trivia.
Yeah, these are good things to know, right? All Things Must Pass CD deluxe set was a joke in terms of value for money when it was released. Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
It was over
seems to be a
£100,
little more expensive.
Say again?
So the Harrison Camp seems to be a little more expensive than the other 3s.
Yeah. But they again, the London estate. We've always said, I think you get more value for the money. We always said about the what do they call? I get the names of them mixed up. What they call each edition, the 6 CD. These things,
Those are great. I think those are really well done.
But they do give you a good value, and they're all uniform. I like that they're kind of uniform in size, and they're the same. But the thing is that this time I think the price went up, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, everything's gone up in price, though, hasn't it? In certainly has over here, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember saying at the time about All Things Was Past that if had it been a sort of £70 box set, I wouldn't have had a criticism of it at all, I don't think. But at £110, I think it was just overpriced.
Yeah. Tanner, what's up? Was the first solo Beatles album? Oh, I completely agree. It was the first solo Beatles album I ever owned. Really, I just enjoy just about every track on it, except for maybe that Back Off Boogaloo remake. Yeah, I don't like that either. Now that you mentioned, but I do love the song "Stop and Smell the Roses" because it's a complete lark and it's a funny novelty song. And to me, the video is a delight of him acting wacky with that video. And I think it's just supposed to be a gag. It's not supposed to be. It's why at the end when he says, "Right, stop and take the time to buy this album, so I can plant roses and smell them all day long." You know, he's like going a little crazy. It's supposed to be a silly joke.
It was an ad for the album. It was telling you to buy the album that you already bought.
Yeah. Recently was at a record store, and the owner of the store told me he was a security guy for McCartney in the 70s and the 80s. So we got a little. I'm a little hesitant to bring this guy up. Are we going to behave yourself? He's like going, you know, because I got the Beatle people up here pretty much. But
I got one little show and tell thing.
I hope you don't take that the wrong way, mystery guest. You know what I mean. I think you know how I mean that.
There it is.
Wait a minute. I figured it's like a Beatles show thing.
Well, that's the empty box. So I have the
Yeah, I'm saving all these. Like I saved the black box this thing came in, the cube up here.
Yeah.
I saved that. And the outer cardboard as well. I'm saving it all. So when I move,
I think, you know, looking back at it now, I had no problem with what I paid for the crate. I think it was well worth the money myself. I think those gnomes set up to reproduce the album cover is really cool. With the LPs and the CDs in there, and then all the other stuff, you get little other bits and pieces in there. I thought it would, and then the crate itself. I mean, I would love to know how much that actually cost to make the crate. The book is fantastic, so I thought it was well worth the money.
I think that's a problem, and it's a high horse I get on every time when people talk about money grab and stuff, because the big things like this cube and the Uber box, I bet you they're just maybe slightly more than breaking even at that on those things. All this money that goes into production on these things, people don't understand it. From photo retouchers to interviews. In this book, this Mind Games, look at all. I mean, I read the entire book. I don't know if you guys did yet. All the interviews, someone had to do those interviews and go interview all those people, whether they did it online or whatever,
right?
And prepare those videos. Put it into a book form, copy editing, production, photo editing, retouching, aside from just the audio parts of it and the fabrication parts of it and the collation. There's so many levels. So, and then, wholesaling it, well, at least to the label and stuff. So, $1,300, and think about it, there's 1,100 of them. My guess is 100 of them they probably gave away to family, friends, musicians, people like Andrew, and let's just take 100 out. So there's 1,000 left. I don't know if that's a realistic number, but I could imagine everyone gets one. I probably sent one to Danny and Paul and all that stuff. And you go back, and for what that is, it is a lot of money, but you can get everything. You can download almost everything except for the bonus tracks for now. And I bet you eventually you'll be able to stream those bonus tracks.
Yeah, because some of those bonus tracks were on the record store EP.
Yeah, but I think eventually they'll be streamable. That's my guess. I don't know anything, but that's my guess. They're going to do something.
I'd love to see the number and how they separated. How many the U.S. gets to how many the rest of the world gets. Because if the U.S. did sell out and then taking from the UK or wherever else,
Yeah, it said it sold out, then they got more. So I bet you they shifted from different.
Well, is it underperforming that much in the UK then? It's more expensive there, isn't it?
I don't think people pay that much. People don't like to spend money on shit like this in the UK. Americans are crazy. I mean, that's
you said that, not me.
We are right, Tom. Right, Tom.
Yeah, well, we definitely are, buddy.
He got the suitcase. He got the
We
suitcase.
all live. We all drive Cadillacs and live in mansions in America.
Yeah. And that's I tell you what, I still love that damn suitcase, man. I had it, I had it, presented on a shelf for a long time.
Did anybody here get the flaming pie giant set? Was that did you get it, Mazzy? Somebody got it. I know.
Wait,
No,
The flaming
Womack
pie
got it.
giant.
Womack got it.
Womack.
Yeah.
that's
the big book. The big.
Yeah, it's like
I got it. I collect photography and art. That was my business in photography. And I understand like I bought photographs from Ethan Russell, the one of Lennon, the White Album, listening to it like literally 20 years, 1999. And I paid $750 for a 16 by 20 from him personally. Those photographs go for like $3,000 now because they're not digital prints. They're before the digital prints, and they were silver gelatin prints. So those photographs, a lot of people invest in art, and since I was in that business,
Right.
I understand what that costs. So that, to me, I'm going to London for my birthday next month, and I'm going to go to I have a reservation for the Tate Modern at the Yoko show. I can't wait. I saw the big show at the San Francisco MoMA about 20 years ago, and it was amazing. I know people like to slag off on certain aspects, but the art. If anyone is in England and London right now, before September 2nd or the second week of September, go see the Yoko show at the Tate Gallery.
And plus that deluxe flaming pie was the only place you can get the Ballad of the Skeletons on vinyl.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, it was on CD in the regular box set,
In the regular box, yeah.
which made me not feel the need to buy the huge box. I quite like Ballad of the Skeletons.
So do I. I think it's
quite an interesting piece.
all four versions.
That's Allen Ginsberg, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Allen Ginsberg. Yeah.
Better you than I. But the McCartney camp doesn't seem. Am I mistaken on this? The McCartney camp doesn't seem to be sending him much complimentary stuff as often as the Lennons.
I haven't got anything from McCartney or Harrison. If we're talking about that, not that I think I should. I'm not a Beatles channel like you guys, but I do my share.
Yeah,
I don't know because they don't have my current address. I moved 3 years ago and they don't have my new address. Whether they've sent stuff to my old address, I've no idea. They may well have done.
Yeah,
that's probably gone on eBay.
You need to like I say, hey Sean, this is Andrew Dixon here. Can you call Danny and say, here's my new address?
You do wonder though, don't you, whether the likes of Danny and Paul's team look at what the John Lennon camp do and think, oh, that seems to be working for them.
Yeah, but honestly, though, I think that box was going to sell itself. To be honest with you.
Oh, the big, but
either they shipped it to you guys or not. I think that set was going to sell out no matter what.
Or in my case, unsold would have unsold itself. Honestly,
I'm actually surprised we got the promo as soon as we did. 6 weeks before it came out? That's pretty far in advance.
Yeah, they did that with the Plastic Ono band. I remember getting that pretty early too. It's exciting. I mean, the only time I got anything with the McCartneys was and it was a good thing because it was something.
The dice.
No, not the dice.
Yeah,
no, not the dice.
Got the dice. That's
the record, not the actual dice.
Yeah,
I didn't get the record. I got the dice.
I got the dice for the McCartney 3 Imagine.
Yeah.
Because I really was not going to buy whatever the McCartney 3, the 3 versions of this, whatever it's called, multicolored wax. And then there was something where I got an email saying, "This is Capital. Would you like to get something really cool, or something from a cool artist or something like that?" It was a tease, and I disregard everything these days. I don't know if they're really Capital. I don't know who they are. Then I started seeing that some people were getting these things. They were receiving. Still have it on the side here. This thing here, which is turned out to be the Pretty Boys lyrics. This was like a hint. I forget where this came from, but anyway, I forget where it came from. I got my story back. So all I know is there was still enough time left for me to realize, it could be Paul. It could be this. So I went back and said, yeah, sure. If it's not too late, I'd like to get them.
Yeah, see? Send it over here, please.
So that's how
No.
I did that, And they only got, I don't know. They got it from I guess, in my description where I have my email in there and stuff, But anyway, I wonder what Melody has to say about all this.
Oh,
Melody, let's keep this nice. You're not you're a good guy.
Of course, I'll keep it nice. Of
No,
course,
but
I'll keep it
let's
nice. I'm not gonna poop on your carpet.
This is like a beautiful Beatles gathering here with the
I
Beatles
like it.
guys.
But I've been watching since you had Danny, then you had Robert on, and I just it was like you had the thing going up a few times. I should have came on earlier.
All right. So, there's anything to say about the mind games or any of the things we talked, the solo stuff we've been discussing?
I'm enjoying what you guys are saying.
Okay, then you can continue to watch from there. No, for those who don't know, we have a sense of humor.
Okay, so let's here. I'm going to ask this question: Have any of you read? There's a couple interviews out now with Sean. One in Variety I read. I didn't read the other one, and he's talking about they have all these other things rolling out now. I don't. Andrew has things that he can't talk about yet because of the local English Lennon Ono contact person. But any ideas? What do you think? Like more things, more fun, interesting thing. They're going to continue on the mind game thing. So what is left? I mean, musically, artistically, he's done quite a bit with the whole Newtopia and the Kumbaya meditation sounds, which is I actually enjoying.
Very cool. Very cool.
I think some people are getting upset about. I read on the forums again. I'm returning this if I can't find these songs. And what about 70s blank songs on the CD? Stop the CD. That's how I look at it. After the album's over. So, any ideas? What do you think, Joe? What do you think?
Well, I could make ideas all day long, but if Andrew knows or something, or is muzzled by army brass, I don't want to make ridiculous guesses. But I still would like to see, which I know Jack Douglas said he worked on, a one-to-one concert set. I know we're getting some kind of a documentary or something that will have footage in there too, but I don't want a documentary only. I want the actual show or shows, an improved version of that. And I think the rumblings were that, or maybe it was just speculation. It was going to be an incentive for the Sometime in New York City one day, maybe box, and that would be a good incentive because that would be a selling point of it. I think they should just make it exclusive to that.
A fabrication of the Statue of Liberty with all these CDs in it, like literally, not the one that's in New York Harbor, obviously.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The one that's in France, the smaller version, and packed with everything about New York City.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The ideas of that.
The big conceptual version.
So in the last couple of days, I've heard a couple of people mention this thing about mind games is now, and there's more stuff coming at the end of the year. I've heard a couple of people mention that Sean has said that what's coming is also mind games related. Now, I haven't seen that. Is that something that Sean has said?
He said there's an interview. Go to the Variety, Variety magazine.
Yeah. And
there's an interview with a very good interview, and he actually gets a little I don't want to say defensive because he's sort of disappointed with some of the comments about, he didn't say the word cash grab, but people, the response to, he thinks it's fun and games. And he's talking about, there's a $1,300 version of it. That's not for everybody, but there you can get it. You can virtually play all the music, stream it for free. For $20, you get a double CD for whatever, there are different price points. And they ask him about that. But he mentions there's a lot of other things coming and rolling out the rest of the year. So read that interview in Variety.
And I have no idea what's coming after this. Genuinely. Yeah. There's a couple of things I know aren't coming, but there's nothing that I know is coming.
I have a strong, I never know how to word this, but I have a strong feeling that we are going to get Sometime in New York City at some point. More than a strong feeling. That's all I could say, But not that I wouldn't say anytime soon, But
what would you think? What would you
he
say?
wants they want to put it all out, everything out.
Well, what was his favorite drink? What was his favorite drink?
Who's
John's.
Oh,
Yeah.
Randy Alexander.
Yeah, maybe they'll have an official release of Randy Alexander.
Hey,
Hey!
This is exciting.
Wait a minute.
I would have come out for you. You drove around the corner.
Don't give any private information, or he can't hear me. This is man.
Fantastic.
Wait a minute. Cover your information. Jesus, oh God, I want to use this. Cover it. Oh, jeez.
This is smaller than the Uber.
Nancy, cover your private information or get it off, because I want this is good to use.
I'm not going to do an opening now because I have.
No, I didn't think so.
I'm going to give you a teaser now. I don't know if it's going to work right. Tomorrow I have someone coming over to help me with a video, and I did order a pair of white silk pajamas for my unboxing. I don't do unboxings, but for my conceptual presentation. So we'll see how that goes. And if you don't see it, it didn't work.
Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
Well, I didn't even hear the truck.
That was good timing. That was very good timing.
Carried me up from the corner. That's muscle.
Listen, DJ Trish, I love you. I've loved you since day one when I was on here. Believe me, Trish, you're one of the best, nicest people. Thank you for your CD mixes, everything. You, at least Mello's reading my comment. When you do something like this, it's a tough juggling act. You know, you want to keep things about right now pertinent to the Beatles discussion and everything. You know. So
I was going to ask before I got rudely interrupted by the UPS man. What do you think of, since Walls and Bridges? A lot of people don't like it, and what if they did a certain special subscription type thing and just a direct mail order type thing? Obviously not, and that's what they did. They put it out. I know Beatle freaks would still buy it, but instead of getting into the stores, instead of the whole thing, would that be weird?
For Walls and Bridges?
I'm sorry, for sometime in New York City.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Walls and Bridges. I never heard anybody say they didn't like it.
I got all, discombobulated.
Well, sometimes New York City should come out.
One of these on my shelf. I don't mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometime New York City should be that size of the box that Andrew just had in his hand, but as formed as a Sunday newspaper, and then you fold it out. You fold it out like that, and then everything will be in page after page, and then that's the book as well as the newspaper.
I'll tell you what I will say is, if sometime in New York City does come out, the extras will be incredible in it.
There's a lot of good material there, and there were rehearsals, and and there's, like I said, use that New York City show as some bait, and make that exclusively the only way you get that deal is to buy. I mean, I hate to say it, but you want to sell an album that not everybody loves, put that in there as the exclusive, exclusively to the box. Just my idea. The Alpha Omega set, huh? You still waiting for?
I think all those songs are like great folk songs, and without all the extra stuff, John Sinclair, Luck of the Irish, I love this. I think the songs, for the most part, are good.
Yeah.
I just wish they thought twice about singing about the communist.
Watch it.
The only one I don't like is Luck of the Irish. Not keen on looking.
I think this song killed over Macca's Ireland song, but
I just think the concept. I maybe it's me that doesn't get it, but I think to suggest to an Irish person that they ought to wish that they were English instead. I don't think there's a single Irish person on the planet who wishes they were English.
I think he's doing from the point of view, though, of the song. It's not that he wants that.
Yeah, like I say, maybe it's me that doesn't quite understand what he's saying.
He's not going. He's not. No, he's not doing that at all. It's in the point of view. No.
Well, I love I love my favorite track, New York City, and I love it the way it is. I mean, I could a little clearer with the vocals, maybe I could use, but I kind of love it. It really rocks, and you don't get a lot of rock like that in John's solo career.
No, you don't. That's a shame.
And I also like the single. the controversial single. I think it's a great
I
song.
wish
And that's what does Sean do with the saxophone on that one, huh?
Leave it right where
I wish John never went to Washington Square and hooked up with Elephant's Memory Band. I'm sorry.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
John Lennon is sloppy enough. He needs some structure.
no, I feel about that the same way I feel about Wildlife for Paul. It's something like offbeat, like that, for me.
Yeah.
Did they do much outside of what they did with John and Yoko? I don't really know much about Elephant's Memory.
Yeah, there's actually
John and Yoko. They produced the album, the Elephant's Memory album, and they were supposed to tour. Yeah,
one on Apple and one was.
I have the Apple one. I guess it's the grayish cover.
The gray cover, and then there's another one. Yeah, I have.
It was interesting. I liked it.
Good.
Terrible.
I liked it.
And there was talk of a tour too, but then I think with all the immigration issues,
right.
I think that
Well, the same thing with the you read in the book in the Mind Games, they talk about touring with this band, and they were kind of this would have been a great band to tour with because these are pros,
Right.
I was really impressed listening to the musicians, reading the musicians talk about how, in a way, genius John was when he, in his mind, like organic, and unlike them who are more trained or professionals and can read music, that he'd hear something in his head and scope it out, and sometimes change the lyrics right away and change a melody right away. Dylan's like that too. When you listen to the bootleg Dylan stuff, you hear how he would rework the song on a dime.
And the lyrics are sometimes different on some of the songs that I like, or some are left out from the record.
Matt, are you getting that next Bob Dylan dump?
Yeah, I was going to talk
I'm
about
an old Dylan guy, and that's the first time I saw Dylan in '74. So I saw that tour. So yeah, I'm getting that.
So are we talking about the 27 CD set?
Yeah, the copyright dump of that stuff. Yeah.
1974 live American tour.
Oh, that's what that.
It's only like what is it, $120 or something? I mean, for all the CDs, it's like $5 a CD.
Are they doing a stripped down version of it with like 2 discs or anything?
They're not doing a CD thing because it's a copyright dump. But what they are, if you subscribe for vinyl, there is a 3 LP set only available through the Third Man Club. What do you call it? The Vault Series. You need to pay, you pay $75 per quarter, but you get the record. So you can sign up for $75. You get the 3 record LP, and then you quit the Vault Series. They do 4 a year.
Yeah.
You don't join or pay anything else, but it's $75 plus shipping. That's it.
Now that I'm back in Michigan, I want to check out Third Man Records and see if I can get a little tour or something like that.
And I'm a Dylan fan, pretty much. I have most of his stuff. I don't go crazy. I'm not big on the live stuff. I think I like the live stuff, the early live stuff, like 60. I don't know what years there. 61, 62, 63.
The England 64 or 64, whatever.
Up to 66, maybe. I'm not so much interested in the latest, although I love his set at Bangladesh.
Rolling Thunder was a great. He did some great stuff on that tour.
Yes. So I wouldn't, but as much as I like Dylan, I don't think I know. I know I didn't buy most of the bootleg series, but I do have a few selected ones that are periods.
Guys, I'm gonna go. I'm absolutely knackered. It's late here. I've had a very long day.
Well, I
need to go to bed.
I appreciate it so much, Andrew. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks. Good to speak to you all. All right.
And Mazzy, same to you. You got to open that cube. We're going to make a video.
That was great to see your delivery live. That was fun.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
I need to get that clip somewhere. So, I don't know how you can, I need to cut it out or somehow.
Yeah. Right. See you all later. Bye.
Okay. So long. That was great. And, now I'm supposed to be doing something that I haven't. I should have been out of here 18 minutes ago. At 6 o'clock, I had to get off, and I stayed because we had special guests too. I said, I'll stay. What the heck? And I'll just say, you know what? We'll go out to eat dinner tonight, babe. We'll go out instead of me taking care of doing dishes and stuff like that. It's like I had a little time. I still got time. I got a half an hour, but so what's going on with Melody down there? Everything to say, Melody?
Nice meeting you, Andrew. It was nice meeting you, Andrew.
Very
I had a
brief.
couple questions I would have liked to ask them too, but
Well, you
it's all right.
didn't. You didn't. You updated you, and you were
Yeah,
like,
no, I know. I couldn't think on the spot
"I'm
right
just
there. You know,
listening to
it's
you
like,
guys." That's all. I said, "Okay, I'll go back to
yeah,
listening."
Well, if you could stop coughing for more than 5 minutes, I mean, you'll be you could get some questions.
No, he was sitting there really diligently, and I felt it's a tough situation. I know. Look, I
I
know
get it.
I'm putting words in your mouth, Melody, but I think you understand. I don't know.
I
For a
do.
minute, you never. I just started thinking this time. Hey, we got a panel up here of just the so-called, Beatles related
Right.
channels, and I thought that would be like nice to keep it to that. Really.